Hi, my name is Erika, I'm a knitter from Brazil, and you are watching the 8th episode of my knitting podcast. Hi, long time no see. The last video wasn't a podcast episode. I think we haven't chatted about my knitting for 1 month now. So there is a lot to talk about today. I have 1 finished object and 5 whips in different stages of completion. And I'm losing light because it's winter now here and the days are ending sooner. So I'll try to be quicker, but to say to you everything I have to tell you about these many projects that are suddenly in my plate. I'm excited about them. I'm enjoying to work on them, and that's partially the reason why I didn't film it earlier, because I was actually wanting to craft instead of filming. So let's jump ahead because there's a lot to talk about. Quickly, before anyone asks what I'm wearing, today this is a store-bought top, and this, however, is me made. It's a vest I made for my mom. It will be in my gift knit video someday when I do it, and I'll stand up to show you. And it's a little long for myself. I made it for my mom. It doesn't fit my mom anymore, and that's why I'm using it. However, if she agrees, I think I'm going to unravel it and make it shorter, more to my taste, so to say. Maybe another project. Maybe I will use the extra yarn to make a shorter cabled vest or something like that. But it's nothing that I have planned for very soon, so you can forget about it. But it's a simple stockinette vest, self-drafted. I didn't even knit in the round back then. It was knitted in panels back and forth, and I used some directions from another patterns to create the bands. You can see that this is twisted stockinette because I twisted my stitches back then, and it's the first project which I ever knitted with wool. Fell in love immediately, so just for you to know, that's what this project is. Now, the finished object. I have to confess to you that I had even forgotten about this project until I started making the summary for today's project, because I finished it in literally 1 day or 1 day and a half, maybe. If you don't know what this is, it's an Ascot scarf, a keyhole scarf. In the newspaper I picked it, it was named cravata, which is a necktie or cravat. Well, I knitted it based on a vintage Brazilian pattern that was released in the newspaper in 1939. I have entered the data for this project on Ravelry, so I will link it below. But it's not a good pattern, I have to say that. It recommended 2.5mm needles and 25 grams of corresponding yarn, which would be light fingering, what they used back then. I once tried to make it with this material before, and it was like this size according to their instructions. It didn't fit at all. So I picked up a worsted weight, it's acrylic, from my stash, and attempted to follow those instructions with that yarn, and I think it was a 4.5mm needle. Again, I couldn't follow all the instructions until here. The stitch counts and the row counts were okay. Here though, they intended for us to knit like, I think, a quarter of this length, and it would be impossible then to wrap it around the neck. I decided to interpret rows as back and forth, as if a row wasn't just one go, but one go and one back. So it would double the number of actual rows, but even so it was shorter, so I decided I was going to match what they had here before I started to make this. I actually started to make it just with that stitch count of double what they recommended, but it didn't work, so I unraveled this tip, and then I added a few more rows corresponding to this place, and then I added the tip, and it fits around my neck. It could be more comfortable. It fits very snugly around my neck, but I got like this much left over, very very little, but I think I want to come back, unpick the tip, knit some more rows just until I almost run out of yarn, and then make the tip again, so it will be a little bit more comfortable. I can wear it, here. It looks super cute, very very fancy French chic, and see, can do it. There are a million patterns for that around. I actually wore this some days ago at home because it's very cold inside, so I was wearing this to protect my neck, and I can wear it like that, but I think it would be optimal with a little more yarn, a little more length, so it wouldn't be so snug here, but I'm not sure. I would have to try it. And I think that once I do try it, I will actually write my own pattern based on that one, because that one, what's useful are the instructions to create this. The edge I added myself, the number of rows I added myself, I kept the initial stitch count, the maximum stitch count here for worsted weight in this case, and I kept this. All the rest, the other numbers I worked up myself. I still want to make a video with a tutorial for this Ascot scarf with other scrap yarn I have, but it won't be right now because I'm in the middle of many things now. Maybe until the end of the year, because before I want to get to an optimal result here. But here it is. It's cute. The color white for me is my basic, my beige maybe. My finished object. Now let's go through my whips, which are 5 I said, and let's go through them from the oldest to the newest. But well, let's start with the one I'm most excited about, and that tells something about the podcast episode. It tells that we have been together for half a year already. Yes, dear folks, it's been half a year. We have the temperature blanket almost until the end of June here. The very end of June is actually here. You can see it got colder here. We get the greens now and the blues. No more orange. In the entire month of June we only had one orange day and mostly yellow, but at the end of June, which is this, and July already started with the greens and some blues in the center. Talking about greens and blues, remember how I had to make the ones from the days of my trip? Here they are this very week. I still didn't place anything in them to show that it was a trip week, but you can see right at the point here the dark blue, which was the coldest day ever, and the dark green with light blue, and all the other colors, a lot of dark green here too. Dark green is pretty cold already, and we're having it. And to finish June, I have another yellow and with green center. I have to add one of these, which are the month dividers, and I have then to make a couple others for yesterday and today, because today is July 2, and they are both green with, I believe, this center or maybe dark green. I will let you appreciate that. See, half a year. I can barely fit it in the screen. I think it's hard for you to see that some in the top are red and some are orange, but the dégradé is forming beautifully. It looks like a little garden, and here it is in its full glory with a lot of ends to weave in still, but done. I still have to weave in the ends, but I'm very happy with this project. I think it's so beautiful, and it tells that we've been together for half a year. We've been doing it for half a year already. Time really flies when we're having fun. And yeah, that's it. Let's go to the next one, because I'm very afraid of being without light today. Now, my second oldest project is my vintage cardigan, about which I said I was really excited to work on it, and I did, but other things got in the way. I have noticed that I prioritize knitting stuff for others for many reasons, and keep pushing my own stuff to the end of the line. So what does that say about myself? I hope nothing much, but well, at least we have one entire sleeve. If you saw my last short, you probably already saw this one. How stretchy this is. It fits because of how stretchy this is. And if you look to the picture, you will see that it fits very stretched. It fits with this like that, so it will be okay. It's quite long, and we already have also half, no, not half, but I think 1/4 of the second sleeve. I knitted one entire cake here, mini cake, and stopped it when it ended here, and I haven't added anything yet because my time was taken by the other projects, but I still have another piece of this one started, the ribbon for the back. It looks tiny now compared to the first time we did it in the beginning of the year, but this is correct according to my own experience. This is correct, especially because it's ribbon, so it stretches a lot. And yes, I haven't started it yet, but this will become TV knitting because ribbon, right? And I reserved the biggest skin for that, the biggest cake, and it's here stored until I can pick it. And I'm still excited to work on that, but I have other deadlines to prioritize. Let's go to those deadlines then. Well, this is a new cast on, and maybe you would like to see my test knit, which one of them is a new cast on too and the other is older, but I will bring it to the front and then I will talk about both the test knits because I have more things to talk about them. This is my grandma's vest. It doesn't look like much. I have also knitted one entire little cake here. I'm knitting it in 4mm needles and with a light fingering weight, so it will be quite drapey. It's just like the other one I knitted for her. I will only improve my techniques according to my matureness in knitting. But other than that, I will keep what I did in the other because she really liked it. I want to make what they call here Russian tie, to tie because it's acrylic, so it won't appear. And that's why I didn't kept knitting on it yet, but I will probably join the other yarn until my next TV watching section, so to say, which is kind of rare. I was knitting it while watching series with my mom, movies with my boyfriend, and didn't go so far because it's a thin yarn. Well, I wanted to have this ready to her hands tomorrow because tomorrow is her birthday and I really would like her to have it, but other things appeared, and just when I saw June was gone and July was here already, so I hope to send it to her then until the end of this month. This will be my priority as soon as I deliver the test knit, about which we're going to talk right now. So, my fourth whip of today is my Margot Blouse by Fable Knitwear, and here it is. Pleated for sleeves, the body is almost complete, and you can see by the presence of this that I ran out of yarn. I lost yarn chicken here and something bad happened, which is dye lot confliction. You can see, I think you can even see it in the camera, how much darker the new yarn is compared to the older one. The older almost looks grayish blue compared to the new one. I was shocked because I had reserved when I noticed that I could run out of yarn, and I probably showed that to you in the lace knitting video, the last video I posted, that I had just only a little bit of yarn. I saved it and I ordered the new one. I even tried to see at the place we had bought this one in 2023 if they still had the same dye lot, and they did, but the shipping cost more than the yarn. Then I thought, oh, this is not reasonable. How bad can it be? It's black. It can be very bad, the discrepancy. It was silly of me because we bought this in Curitiba. If I had predicted the yarn chicken, I could have bought another in that same shop that had from the same dye lot. But I didn't predict it. I came back without this and I had to buy it in another place, and now it's here. So when it got here, I had saved a bit of yarn from the other one to alternate skins until I pass it to the new one, just to prevent the dye lot issue. But I didn't know it would be so strong. So I did start to blend it and didn't work at all. It was striped. So I decided I was going to try to finish the lacy body with the rest of the yarn I had, and I would, if necessary, make a longer ribbon. And I was pretty successful in that, and I have just started the ribbon. I think like 3 rows only here, 2.5 actually, because I slipped my stitches to the one needle to leave it like that so I could show you the dress on. But I am here in the middle of the row. So we have just a little bit of ribbon here, and you can see how much darker it is. Since I'm going to use this for the ribbon, for the end of the sleeves and for the neckline, it might look intentional. I hope so. That's my plan. So I think I will only need to make 1 more centimeter in the ribbon here, not much more than that. Actually, the first skein went pretty far, and that's the next one I'm going to tackle. While this was waiting for the yarn, I cast on the other test knit, and it's almost finished. That's what I'm going to show you right now. Behold my Agnes top. See? Another bright white one that doesn't want to leave the camera alone, but contemplate this cuteness. I will show you some pictures of it dressed on, but I will now take it away. I will try to show you the details in pictures, but we have here picot edges at the bottom and at the upper hem. We have a lace edging at the bottom, just above the picot edge. We have another lace trim at the top, and we have eyelets for an I-cord at the waist, so we can create a blousey effect. Other than that, it's a stockinette tube with a lovely panel at the middle here. We have decreases and increases for all those steps and to create the blousiness too, but other than that, it's a stockinette tube. And it was super smooth sailing to knit. Compared to the Margot, there was almost no troubles in the pattern writing. This is easy for a beginner, super nice and very effective. However, there is a little bit of a problem with the fit at the back. The beginner already addressed it, adding the creases to shape the back a little bit more. However, mine is still very gapey at the back. I will try to show you in the editing process a picture of me wearing it, and you will see the gapiness at the back. To solve that, I have bought some ribbons. I have bought a lot of ribbons actually, but for the top here, to the 2 rows of eyelets here, I will thread it one of these. I still didn't decide, but I probably will thread this one as my standard closure. But I bought other baby colors like pink and very light lilac here and baby blue. I could change this occasionally if I want to wear the top with another bottom. I think this could be interesting for the summer. If I don't do that, I could also use those in other projects. Ribbon is always useful if you knit vintage or like it. So these 2 ribbons here are marking the spots for my straps, which are my problem, because can you guess what happened? I will give you 1 second. Write down what happened to me in this project. If you guessed yarn chicken, you guessed it right. This is supposed to be enough for me to knit 2 double knitted straps. Wouldn't work. I had a little more before, but I knitted the I-cord, which initially I wouldn't make. I would use ribbon here too, but since I noticed that I wouldn't be able to make the straps, I decided I would use it for the I-cord. Might as well. Possibly I will add some pearls at the tip here and in the other tip, so I could prevent it from going out also. And the only thing that I have to do here is the straps, and possibly I will sew this other ribbon to the back of the straps, which I made this in my crochet dress, and it really helped with keeping it in place, keeping it sturdy. I don't know if I will do this time because it's double knitted, so it's firm on its own. I will see, but it's to prevent the growth of the actual cotton. And the other thing is the buttons that I will add to this here, which could work, but you don't have to use it as a fake button band, but it could be. Oh my god, it's glaring horribly. Anyway, I will place the buttons here. I will at least try. And I have bought 2 sets here, the buttons that I have bought. A simple pearl with silvery, and this one which has metal in the center and some decor here. I'm truly leaning towards this one, which is simple and it also is silvery, which will be easier for me to wear with my glasses, also silvered, and my very common hoops, also silvery. I have golden hoops too, but since my glasses are this metal, I prefer using silvery and match it with all the cool colors that I have going on here. So I'm probably leaning for this, but I will keep the others for another occasion. If you prefer the other one, tell me in the comments. Buttons, we can always replace them, right? That's it. I am not really thinking about future projects now. In my head, I have that I want to make some. I want to make my Fair Isle cardigan. I really want to make that. That's what I want to cast on next once I finish this. I want to make my crochet hat, the knitted hat too, but I'm probably going to make the cardigan before, because they both use the red. I will try to use everything I need for the cardigan first, and I want to make a gift knit in double knitting, colored. I won't talk to you about it right now, and probably this one will take precedence because it kinda has a deadline, more or less close. You will see if I end up doing it. But there is one that has occurred me because of the amount of scraps that I will have from here. I will have a lot of scraps from the yarn for the Agnes, and I will have some scraps from the black too, and I also have other cotton scraps from about the same yarn or similar thickness, or if I hold them double. So I was considering that I could make a bag, because I don't like to keep scraps, they pile up in my head, and I don't like also to make scrappy random projects. I like to use my scraps in smaller projects. Case in point, the Ascot scarf. I want to make the Gallivantry bag by Squidney Knits from Squidney School of Vintage Knitting. Here this is. It's a rewritten pattern from 1917, and it's knitted in garter stitch and seems like simple enough. It's lined and it looks like a nice, very nice bag. And I have the pattern, so I'm kind of knitting from the vault like Nora knits cowl that's going on this year. The point of the cowl is for us to knit with yarn or patterns that we already own. So I already own a bunch of patterns by Sydney, and I really like them and I want to knit them. I thought that if I make the bag in the colors of the outfits I'm making, I will have a bag that will match my wardrobe. So I'm planning on using the black, the white, probably the red from my making blouse, and the pink and green from my crochet dress, this dress. I have leftovers from all of them. Let's see, I'm not sure about the red, but the others are probably going to be there. I will see how it goes, but this is not also a project that I will make so soon, because I am a little tired of knitting with cotton. I want to enjoy the cold weather to knit cold weather stuff, but it's kind of a solid project now. I only have to buy the handles. Well, I think that's it for today, folks. Sorry if it was a little bit all over the place. I felt the lights going away and away, and it rushed me up. I'm also a little bit rusty from talking about my projects because it's been a month. So I hope you enjoyed seeing this project. Cheer for me not to find any more yarn chicken in my future, because it's turning into a pyramid scheme. Buy more yarn to finish a project, buy more yarn to finish a project, and that's it. Well, I hope to have most of this finished already when we meet next time. And if you have been here from the start, thank you for keeping me company for this half a year. And if you are new, welcome. I hope you stick around and spend the next half a year, maybe 1 year, 2 years with me. Let's see how long this project will last. Other than that, be happy, be healthy, happy knitting, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.